Once upon a time, there was a street dog named Max. Max was a stray dog who lived in the alleys of a bustling city. He was a mixed breed with brown fur and big, floppy ears. Max had to fend for himself on the streets, scrounging for scraps of food and sheltering in abandoned buildings. Despite the hardships, Max was a happy dog. He loved to play with other street dogs, chasing after each other and wrestling in the dirt. Max was also friendly with the people who passed by on the streets. He would wag his tail and approach them, hoping for a pat on the head or a bit of food. One day, Max met a kind woman who worked at a local animal shelter. She was out on the streets, looking for stray dogs to rescue and bring back to the shelter. When she saw Max, she immediately fell in love with him. She approached him slowly, holding out her hand for him to sniff. Max was a bit cautious at first, but he could sense the woman's kindness. He sniffed her hand, then licked it with his tongue. The woman smiled and scratched Max behind the ears. Max closed his eyes and leaned into her touch, feeling safe and loved. The woman took Max back to the shelter, where he was given a bath and a good meal. Max was happy to be off the streets, surrounded by other dogs and caring humans. He quickly became a favorite among the shelter staff and volunteers. Despite the comforts of the shelter, Max never forgot his days on the streets. He would often look out of his kennel, watching the people and cars pass by. Max knew that there were other street dogs out there, just like him, who needed help and love. One day, the shelter held an adoption event. Families came from all over the city to meet the dogs and hopefully take one home. Max was excited but also a bit nervous. He had grown attached to the shelter staff and wasn't sure if he was ready to leave. As the families came by, Max wagged his tail and barked playfully. He licked their hands and jumped up to greet them. But none of the families felt like the right fit for Max. They were either too busy or lived in apartments where dogs weren't allowed. Max started to feel a bit discouraged. Maybe he was meant to be a street dog forever. But just as he was about to give up hope, a young couple approached his kennel. They were smiling and talking excitedly, and Max could feel their energy. The couple introduced themselves and started to pet Max. Max felt a connection with them right away. They had kind eyes and gentle hands. The couple talked to the shelter staff, asking questions about Max's temperament and needs. After some discussion, the couple decided to adopt Max. They signed the paperwork and took Max home with them. Max was a bit nervous at first, but he quickly adjusted to his new home. The couple gave him a soft bed, toys to play with, and lots of love. Max was finally living the life he had always dreamed of. He had a warm and loving home, and he was surrounded by people who cared for him. Max knew that he would never forget his days on the streets, but he was grateful for the new life he had been given.